Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Zen, where I guide you through creating a little piece of art using the Zentangle method of drawing. Today I have two pens, the Micron PN plastic nib and the Micron 01. A little bit thicker lines with this one, the 01 I'm going to use for some details. I have a Zentangle brand graphite pencil for shading and a tortillon for blending. Feel free to use pencil, paper, pen, whatever you have on hand. All right, so today I'm doing something a little bit different. This week is my 5-year breast cancer survivor anniversary. So instead of just making a typical tangle, I'm actually going to start by drawing a ribbon. I know we've all been through things in our lives that maybe have a ribbon representing them. Childhood cancer, all cancers, mental health. There's so many things that have a ribbon. So mine is going to represent breast cancer, but your ribbon could represent anything you wish. All right, so I'm going to start. I'm going to find the halfway point, and I'm going to go just below the halfway point, and I'm going to make a very thin little line. And then just below that, about halfway between that and the bottom, I'm going to make another little line. There might be an easier way to draw a ribbon, but this is how I'm going to go about doing it. So I'm basically making this horseshoe shape up on top, and I'm drawing it in pencil very lightly so I can adjust it. And then I'm going to go down here, sort of looking like a fish, right? Like a little fish. Okay, so for this first part of the ribbon, I want this line to extend up into here, but stay an even width. So I'm going to basically go like that. Okay, and it's going to come down here. And I'm going to make a little end. So this line here is kind of the point, and I come down below it. All right, so now I have to envision this other side here, and I'm going to imagine this one going behind and coming up and making that little hook shape. So I'm going to imagine it going underneath, coming up here and hooking. I end up with a little seed pod almost right there. And then this one's going to come down, go underneath. Again, I'm trying to keep this width about the same as this one, so maybe even a little bit wider. And then finish off my tail. Okay, and then up here in this little seed pod, I'm going to go about halfway down, and I'm just going to make a little bump. That's the back of the ribbon. Okay, go ahead and pause and adjust as needed. All right, today's tangle is printomp. This is a classic Zentangle pattern, and it's one of my favorites, so I'm going to use that today. All right, I'm going to start by inking in these lines, and I can adjust as I go if I want to make it longer or wider. I'm not going to worry about erasing the pencil lines. Those will disappear as we draw. All right, there's my ribbon. So now to fill it, I'm going to use printomp. I just think it's a beautiful tangle. So printomp, I usually start by making a little dot, and then I very carefully aura around the dot a couple of times and then close it off. And I like to start sort of randomly throughout my shape. Now this one goes here and it stops at the edge, and I'm going to imagine it coming around. So I'm going to lift my pen and come back up and go again, and I'm going to stop. Make my little dot, start at that dot and start going around, and stop whenever you want. The fun thing about printomp is that you can make these all different sizes. So I like to start by filling a few spaces with some larger ones. Again, when you're on the edge, just lift your pen and imagine it coming out the other side. And we go back in and start filling in these spaces. Lifting my pen, lifting my pen. Now that gives the illusion that it's behind those first two printomps that I made. Snuck one in there. Now, the thing about printomp is going slow, trying to keep those lines fairly even. So right here I have this empty space. I have a couple of options. One is I can fill it with some tipple, which is just some little circles. I could also color it all in black. That gives a really pretty effect. But I think, or I could also sneak in another little printomp. But I'm going to show you a technique. I'm going to take the one that's the furthest behind. So this printomp is the one that's kind of behind these two. And I'm just going to aura as if that shape keeps going. An easy way to fill. So right here, this one is the bottom. So I'm going to aura. And it just looks like it continues. Okay. I think of Zentangle method as mindful doodling, and I am very much a doodler. And I love that I have these go-to shapes that I can just sit and draw at any time. And printomp is one of those that I could just sit and make over and over and over again. Okay. So I'm going to go back here. I've got a little space. I'm going to take the one that's the furthest behind and aura. And this little part here that's the back of the ribbon, I'm going to make that a little bit different. So I'm just going to add some little striping in there, just to make it look like it's a little bit different than the front of the ribbon. All right, now with printomp, there's so many fun things you can do, but one thing that I enjoy is adding some weight to it. So this large one right here, I'm going to choose a side. I'm going to choose this right-hand side, and I'm just going to thicken or add weight to those right side edges. See how that changes that a little bit? On this one, I'll pick a side, and I'm basically just making like a crescent moon shape in there and just thickening it a little bit. I'm not going to do every one, but I do like how that changes the look of this. Just a little. going to do 1 or 2 more. I think that's good. All right, now I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to aura this entire shape. That just means I'm going to make an outline around the whole thing. I feel like outlining for me is one of the hardest things to do. For some reason, trying to follow a line and keep it sort of straight and even is tricky. But I feel like it's also a good meditative practice. It makes me focus, watch what my pen is doing. Here we go. Just adds a little bit of detail. All right, now I'm going to put my 4 dots in my corner now. And I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to connect those dots. And then around the edges, just going to add some flux, which is these little upside down teardrops. Just going to add a couple of those. In different sizes. With no rhyme or reason, just to add a little elegance to the tile. Okay. All right. On my tile, I'm going to write 5 years. Obviously you don't need to do that, but when I add that to mine, I'm also going to put a couple little dots just to add a little bit of flair. Okay, now if I want, I can take this line here, extend it out, add some fescue. Kind of pretty. All right, I'm gonna put my pen down, grab my pencil for some shading. And for this one, I'm gonna shade where the ribbon goes over the other part of the ribbon. So I'm gonna add some graphite, pretty heavy, right there. And then also on this side. And I'm gonna add some graphite inside here because this is the part that goes under or behind all the ribbon. And then lastly, I'm going to put just a little bit of graphite around these outside edges. Okay. Take my tortillon, and right here where I did the heavy blending, I'm going to push it up and away. I'm going to pull this one down and away. It gives that illusion that there's a shadow. And here I'm just going to soften these. I'm going to put a little bit back in here. And then the outside of my ribbon, I'm just doing a little bit to give it a little bit of a shadow, make it pop out from the page slightly. And then I'm going to take my tortillon that just has some graphite on it, I'm going to go along this outside edge. Just to add a little more. All right, I did that kind of quickly. I wanted to end in 15 minutes. So there you go. A little ribbon with some printomp. Initial it, write your name on the back, and enjoy. Thank you for watching.